I am ready now.
Coming to you from the Radio for One studios in Franklin, Michigan. Welcome to the Detroit Cast.
Big fan. Big fan.
A show not just free of charge, but free of FCC regulations.
And what can we expect?
Surprises!
Engineered by Jay Timko and produced by Eric Beatty. And without further delay, it's showtime. Please welcome the Detroit Cast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Jay.
Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody, to the Thursday edition of the Detroit Cast. I'm Mike. That is Jay. Timko to my left. Sad news to bring you no Big E today.
Claims to be sick. I don't know.
Yeah.
He must be. He can't have anything else to do.
He doesn't have anything else to do, but it seems a little odd that on a day after the day after he takes a sound thrashing on the air.
Well, and after he tanked our YouTube and everything.
Yeah, he kind of felt like an ass last night after that. So maybe that's why he's not here. I can't say for sure. I haven't talked to him, but yeah, no Big E today. He claims sick and doesn't want to get us sick.
I was texting with him. I told him to leave his Ebola ass at home,
mm-hmm.
and he said, "Oh, I'm not staying here 21 days." He like laughed over the text, you know.
Yeah.
So he'll be back tomorrow.
Whatever.
All sick and shit. He'll take his one day off and then
yeah. Well, you remember the one time he showed up under the weather at Riff. He showed up like he wasn't even under the weather. He was like, "Yeah, I woke up this morning and I felt a little weird, and then I felt okay." And we ran with that. It was like, oh man, we ended up making him so paranoid. Like, dude, you cannot come in here if you're feeling other. I feel fine. It's like, no, dude, you said you woke up, you're feeling under the weather, and now you're in here. This is a multi-million-dollar operation that you're putting in jeopardy with an intern is putting this in jeopardy. Dude, we made him sign a contract saying that he would. First off, apologizing to the guys profusely about his behavior. It was wrong. I woke up feeling it was selfish of me to come in here. And I mean, this guy folded in a second and then went home and sent an email after that, like, I've thought about it some more and I'm really sorry. I was very unprofessional of me to...
Goodbye, BUI.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Oh, Big E.
Feel
better, Big E. Feel better.
Feel better. And thank you for not getting us sick. And anytime I get sick,
good point.
If I get sick at any point in the next 6 months, it's Big E's fault now. And, anyway, a lot to get to. It's a Thursday edition of the Detroit Cast. We got an interesting story I read about how our social networking sites go about cleaning the filth and all that kind of stuff.
And how they discern what's filthy and what's not.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. I found it
interesting
fascinating.
Job, yeah.
Yeah, it would be. It apparently doesn't last very long. People burn out quick. Also, a new high-speed train should be built by 2035. Something to look forward to. Going from Chicago to Detroit and back. I mean, not that it already doesn't do that, but high speed is the key. The rocket exploding. A personal thing for the Detroit Cast. We'll get into that. Gordie Howe. Not interesting, but terrible news there. Had a stroke over the weekend. And
sounds like he's not doing very well at all.
Yeah. I don't know how much information they're releasing on it all, but it doesn't sound good. But he's 85, 84?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll touch on that in a little bit. The Ebola nurse being a real pain in the ass. Another beheading story. But we got to start with the Kitterman. The Kitterman.
The Kitterman's been found.
Yep, of course, this is Paul Kitterman. You may know him as Joe Miller. But Paul Kitterman was the, stunningly mustachioed gentleman that disappeared from the Broncos Thursday night game, and he's been found. He's been located. Paul Kitterman, 53-year-old father, disappeared halftime on Thursday, Denver Broncos San Diego Chargers game, found safe by police, mustache intact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Police made the announcement on their Twitter account, which still seems weird to me that police are tweeting.
Right.
Whatever. I guess it gets it out to the people. They're confirming that Paul Kitterman and his stash have been located and are both are safe after going missing from the Broncos game. They later added, Paul Kitterman was located in Pueblo, Colorado. Again, he is unharmed. All questions should be directed to the family. Which tells you this guy's an asshole with a lot of problems. You deal with a family if you want to know what's going on.
Exactly.
Don't bother us. As we said, there was no foul play here.
Yeah, I fear we're in between kind of the facts again on this story. You know, we reported on this yesterday and the day before, but soon after we finished the show, I guess he was located.
Yeah.
So I fear we're going to do this again, and we're going to find out more facts as we go into tomorrow. But I don't know. I guess we speculate from here.
Well, that's all we can do at this point, right? And that's what we're good at. We speculated. The speculation on our end was, and this was going on limited facts. We didn't have a whole lot of facts at the time.
There's your drawings.
Yeah, I put an APB out for him. That might have been how they found him so soon after our show.
It's basically a Weeble Wobble with a... Remember those Weeble Wobbles?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The mustache painted on him.
Looks like an egg. Look at that Kitterman. Look at that tan on that face. If he would have taken that mustache off, can you imagine how pasty white that would have been? He would have been fried out there.
That would have been the biggest tragedy, I think, had he shaved it. So
Shorn.
Right. So he's still unshorn.
Yeah.
Still a full Kitterman.
Yeah.
And, they can work out any personal issues they have, and I'm sure go forward and be well from here.
It's not lost on me that you appear way more shorn than usual. Your growth is completely eliminated.
Yeah, I just got itchy.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm getting the itchy right now.
Yeah.
But I think I would go with the Kitterman for a day, just in tribute for Halloween.
I know. I encouraged everyone to do that on our show post intro, and then I myself went and shaved. So
yeah. Hey, the Kitterman's not for everyone.
It's not.
What they're saying is he had his fill of football and decided to take a walk.
Yeah, that was a quote I guess he gave to the cops. Oh, I had my fill.
He wanted to go somewhere warmer, so he headed south, sleeping in trees and bushes along the way, which his stash probably helped in that sense as far as camouflage goes.
He's like the Lorax.
The what?
The Lorax. Can you picture him? He was the Dr. Seuss character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he loved the trees.
White?
He loved the trees.
White...
He was like, there he is. Look at that stash.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
There he is.
That rivals the Kitterman. That's a brilliant Kitterman right there. I'd call that the Kitterman, not the Lorax.
If I saw that Kitterman son of a bitch in a bush, I'd swear it was the Lorax.
Are you sure that's not the poster they put out? Be on the lookout for this with a Broncos hat on.
Look at my man. I love him.
It's a cross between a Wilford Brimley and a Kitterman is what that is. The Lorax.
Oh,
so he wanted to go somewhere warmer. He was crashing in trees and stuff. Him and the stash hanging out together. He even mentioned disposing of his Broncos hat as he did not want to be recognized.
Going full Joe Miller.
There's the birth of Joe Miller.
But he couldn't bring himself to shave it,
which is where it tripped him up. He'd be on the lam for years. As long as he got rid of the Kitterman, he'd have been unrecognizable to people. They would have put APBs out. They could have done everything they wanted. They were looking for that stash. And that's probably why he was found. I heard he was in a hotel room and awaiting his family.
He was, right?
Yeah. But I don't know if the police put him in a hotel room or there was probably a level of professional respect between the police force, who are known to have some exceptional mustaches themselves. Mm-hmm. So there was probably a level of respect due to the extreme nature of that mustache that Kitterman had. So maybe they just put him up in there. I don't know. But I think he did want to get lost, and he planned on going full Joe Miller. He lost the Broncos hat, which he loved, but when it came time to...
He couldn't do it.
He just couldn't pull the
Looked
clippers
himself
out.
In the mirror, couldn't do it.
And he went, you don't describe this mustache. This mustache describes you. And he left it at that, and he took his chances. $50 in a mustache is all he had on him when he bolted that stadium.
So they say he was really in bushes and stuff?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, hiding in trees and bushes.
Kitterman.
Get a hold of yourself, my man. I just can't imagine. You just assume that anybody that is as coiffed and well groomed as that stash is, that they've got their stuff together. You just expect that.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, that mustache didn't just grow overnight.
It shows a level of personal hygiene, personal care.
Yes. And I think we're
self-respect.
Total self-respect. I mean, you see that from our heroes.
Pride in appearance.
Pride in appearance. Heroes wear mustaches like that. Right. Firemen, police. And there's just a level of respect that I give those people. Look at that thing. Look at that mustache on Kitterman. It's spectacular. But if he would have shaved that off, I mean, it would have almost been as distracting as the mustache because it would have been so pasty white and that thick lip.
Got it. 4-inch upper lip.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul Kitterman.
Yeah. Look at that thing. Look at Kitterman.
Damn it. He's a fine-looking man.
Yeah. Wow.
So he's living in bushes and trees.
Yeah.
What
do you think happened here? He went into the John. We did learn yesterday that, which is the first time I heard this, maybe this was reported and I missed it, but that he was 4 or 5 beers deep by halftime.
I wonder if he's like a recovering alcoholic or something like that. Total speculation. Who knows? Maybe he had some kind of substance abuse problem. He kind of gets back on the wagon here, and
But it sounds like they were drinking with him. If he was an alcoholic, for instance.
Yeah, they would have been kind of.
They would have been like,
man, hey Kitterman.
Yeah, kept an eye on him.
Kept an eye on him. You're right.
It just seems like, now who knows? He could have a drug problem that's been sober for 8 years and goes and does a rail in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, and then now you're off and running.
Ends up in some seedy hotel somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. People are speculating that he had a mistress or something, and it's pure speculation until he or his mustache gives a statement of some sort. We're left to create the story ourselves. And look at that. I mean, if you put that out, that picture that I drew yesterday of Kitterman with stash, if you put that out and said, be on the lookout, I would have spotted Kitterman in a tree.
What is that on his hat?
It's supposed to be a Bronco.
Looks like the word quiz.
Yeah, kind of. Those are legs.
Oh.
Those are legs. I don't know why instead of just a horse's head.
Yeah.
I did legs, kind of like a bull, but or a bill, like the Bills helmet. But you see on the new one.
Doesn't it look like the word quiz?
Yeah. Yeah. No, those are legs.
Okay.
Those are legs. I know the artist. And this one, I put him in a Giants hat because he was trying to get rid of all things Kitterman, go full Joe Miller.
With the white upper lip.
The white upper lip.
These were posted yesterday on our show.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yep. So at least he's
next
back.
to little baby Ed. Is that clear who that is? That's your nephew, man. That is a cute little guy.
With his Kitterman?
Holy cow, is he cute.
Yeah, he went full Kitterman for the show post.
Look at that little pudgy man.
Yeah. He's hilarious.
He's in that great pudgy mode right now with those big legs.
Yeah. His knuckles are looking dented.
Yeah.
Because
inverted.
Inverted because the fat grows over them.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, the other lastly on Kitterman's stash and Kitterman, what I found interesting was usually you'll hear, and when I got thrown in the clink for DUI, my morning show partner, the Beagle, and our producer were calling around local hospitals and jails until they finally found me. That's what they were doing on the air, by the way. Nice, right?
Jeez.
It was like, when I got back, I was like, what if I would have been dead in a ditch and that's how you found out? Live on the air, you assholes.
Can you imagine how gleeful that must have been when they're like, yeah, we have him here.
Yeah.
Holy shit, he's in jail.
It was our Super Bowl show. It was bad. The Verve Pipe was in studio that day. It was not good. But what I noticed, the quote from the family said, we've checked all the jails, hospitals and detox centers.
Right. So they're right there.
I mean,
it tells you something.
I've always
you don't check
heard,
a detox center unless there's a detox issue.
Yeah. Like that. That's just.
I mean, if my wife was listening, or if my wife was missing, I wouldn't check a detox center.
Right. Right.
Not in a million years.
Yeah. And I've never heard it put that way either.
Yeah.
Like you always hear that about, we check the local jails and the hospitals. That's just standard operating procedure. The detox centers? So I think there's more to this Kitterman fella than just the stash, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You
got to hold up something in the bathroom, I think. And
maybe send him in a deep spiral.
Yeah. I think it probably
happens. It happens. It's odd, but, whatever. This is
here's the distance, by the way. Look at where he ended up.
200 miles away from his home. 112 miles from the stadium? 114 from the stadium?
Yeah, I've been walking for 5 days. There's his trail.
Was he walking for 5 days? Is that what they're thinking?
Kitterman?
He just wanted to get away from something. And if he'd have lost the Kitterman, he could have pulled it off.
I was going to say that mustache is total wind drag. You know how much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
unless he was going with the wind. But
wow, man, he just started walking.
He had to have gotten a ride, right? At some point. That's over, what is that, 20 miles a day?
Yeah, you could do it.
You could do it.
I mean, that's Appalachian Trail shit right there.
Yeah, it is. And they found him at a Big K.
Oh, boy.
Kmart. Kitterman. Yeah. Anything else on there? We know there are a lot of questions. What does that say? Look at that mustache, just prominent in every photo. It steals the photo. I don't care how good the photo is. The mustache dominates the picture, doesn't it?
He wears it well.
He does. It goes well with his smile. His dimples accentuate the arch of the stash itself. I mean, it's just you can't get a more perfect stash on a face. You just can't. Very professional. You would expect that guy's got his shit together.
Mm-hmm.
Just goes to say, you know.
You never know, yeah.
You never know the man for the
walking
mustache. They're walking amongst us. I still encourage people to go out, especially now that we know he's okay. I very much encourage people to go out as Paul Kitterman for Halloween.
Even more so now.
Yeah, now that we know he's okay.
You could have like some branches in your jersey kind of sticking out and
Yeah,
mud.
Yeah. If you and your buddy are together, one could go as Joe Miller.
Freshly shorn.
Freshly shorn.
Pink-faced.
Pink-faced, but all white.
White
White lip, big white upper lip with like a 3-inch overhang that stash was covering for years. You and Joe Miller. People, and it'd be hilarious because every party you went to, people go, "What the hell are you guys?" Paul Kitterman and Joe Miller. Maybe you should tune into the Detroit Cast. You'd be up on this shit. Oh man! And then if you got drunk as hell, you'd have to stumble out of the party on your own and get. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, New York woman, and this is weird around Halloween. There's always some story like this where.
Dude, this is gross.
It's gross. It is.
You mentioned a beheading, and we're not going to talk about ISIS. We're going to talk about like real people here.
Yeah, homegrown stuff. A man beheaded a woman
in New York,
Long Island apartment, and dragged the body and head out onto the street, where, of course, days before Halloween, people see that, they think they're witnessing a macabre Halloween prank, until they went up and like tried to move the body and realized it was a real human.
Oh, God.
Missing a head. I guess it looked like she'd been killed upstairs and then dragged through the house. He dragged her into the street and then kicked her for about 20 feet.
Her head, yeah, kicked her head down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we were talking about like how are they going to make this worse? Because beheading is just shockingly gross. Oh, you kick the head.
Kick the head. Yeah.
Play a little football.
Little soccer with it.
Yeah. Go score a goal.
Could you juggle a head?
No, they're heavy, man.
8 pounds.
Dude,
we learned that in McGuire.
I sort of messed around with an 8-pound medicine ball the other day, and
really,
you cannot juggle that.
No, not juggleable.
Sort of balance it and flip it up once and maybe catch it, but no, you don't want to juggle that.
With your knees, you could.
Yeah, you could.
Longer
probably.
than your feet.
Barely.
I wouldn't want to head a head.
No.
That would hurt, probably.
God, it's gross. So she's 60 or something. He's 30.
Yeah. Yep.
Probably just an elderly neighbor that. Do we know if there's a terrorism tie or?
They haven't said.
Oh, I didn't ask about the violation, Mike.
Yeah, I'm assuming there's a violation, right? I mean, maybe. Witnesses said they saw the man drag the woman's body out of the building and onto the street where he kicked her head some 20 feet before going to a nearby railroad track, jumping in front of an eastbound Long Island Railroad train. Approximately 25 minutes later, the police found his body about a mile from the apartment.
Wow.
Yeah. There was blood all over the floor. You can see smears going down the stairs as if someone were pulling a body. Some of the women's neighbors initially thought the headless body in the street was just a Halloween prank, only to discover it was real after attempting to move it. Good God.
Yeah, I'm picturing the kicking. Because you're right, man. You don't want to just full out kick a head, 8-pound head.
No.
It's going to hurt your foot.
Yeah.
Although he's not worried about that. He's about to jump in front of a train.
Yeah. Maybe it's not new. Maybe we just hear about it more. But this idea of, I thought the thing was, if you were in such a bad shape that you wanted to take yourself out of the game, like, you can do that. You could take yourself out of the game. It's this idea of taking people with you I don't understand. These guys, Lakes Minivan USAs of the world, like, fucking fly home, asshole. Take yourself out, whatever, but massacre your whole family, one by one as they come in the door. Like this guy, you want to jump in front of a train? Knock yourself out, dude.
Well, are we going to hear a loose ISIS tie? You know what I mean? Is this one of these lone wolf jackasses who was trying to make some kind of Islamic statement?
Obviously. I mean, we've never heard of beheadings.
Well, yeah, I know, but
you know how long it takes to behead someone?
Yeah.
It's not quick.
But I'm sure this shit is appealing to the freaking mentally ill who are just, barely Muslim and want to, wow, that's appropriate now.
Ugh.
Go ahead and saw a head off.
Yeah. Police did not.
Is that her, Jay?
Yeah.
Picture that head going lopping down the road.
Was it shaved? Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Oof.
Wait,
that was the body with a sheet on it.
Is that the head?
That's the head, yeah.
That's just the head.
Dude.
Wow. It is. I could see she's got lush hair.
Yeah, we're looking like neck neck angle here.
Yeah.
Straight on neck.
I got to be honest. I don't think that would roll very well with that hair.
Well, yeah, and you'd go to kick it, and you'd probably step on part of the hair, and so it wouldn't go very far.
It'd be a mess.
Mm.
It's probably a mess anyways, but wow.
You'd almost have to step wide so that you didn't step on any of the hair.
Right.
Kick, make that kicking motion so that all the hair was outside of your foot range.
Mm-hmm. I think I would use the top of the foot and like heel kick.
I might flip it with the toe. I might, you know how you get your toe right underneath and just kind of flip. That might get it
go very far, but
well, it might get it a roll to it.
Maybe. I would think the nose or the hair would slow you up big time.
How long before the glasses go flying off?
Oh, those are gone as she was dragged down the stairs.
Yeah.
I would think.
Dentures too, yeah.
Dentures, yeah, long gone.
So kind of like Big E glasses, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of old ladies in Big E's have those glasses.
That's true, dude. He wears old lady glasses, for sure.
He's probably screaming at his radio right now.
I've had those for years before they were cool.
Yeah,
before they were cool, before all the old ladies and chicks started wearing them.
Mm-hmm. Probably got them at a store in the mall. Hot topic. Yeah, the police did not initially cite any connection to terrorism, although they mentioned the ex-con in Oklahoma who beheaded the co-worker. And then I don't remember this one. A British man beheaded an 82-year-old woman who was gardening in her yard.
I do remember that. Maybe
Why
a
don't I
month or
remember
6
that?
weeks ago.
Is it commonplace like Twix now?
Yeah, it was definitely after the Ali G first beheading. And so, you know, at the very least, these things are obviously inspired by that.
Oh, yeah.
Whether they're just fucking mentally ill people who see that and for some reason think that's cool now, or they're actual lone wolves trying to ingratiate themselves to ISIS. Who knows?
There has to be something like that because
you don't just come up with that idea.
No, and it seems like even the most horrific of deaths and murders, they left the head intact.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't bodies just didn't go sans head unless they went, you know.
Yeah, this is a new trend for sure.
Very new trend. I don't like it either.
Yeah, here we go. We have body about 20 feet.
Wow.
Maybe
yeah,
even
he
more.
did kick it about 20 feet, 25 feet. I wonder if he kicked it once and it rolled, if it got on a roll, caught some wind, or if this was a multi-kick deal.
It's not downhill.
No.
So
I mean, there's a slight grade to the street, but
well, as there is
enough
with
to
any
roll
road,
ahead.
I think there's a natural crowning in the middle.
Absolutely.
So you've got to go up through the middle of that road to hit the downward crown.
Right. But I'm wondering if that aided him in the head roll.
It may have. Yeah.
Do you think it was a one-time kick, or do you think he was burst down? Yeah.
It's just gross, man.
You're right, though. It's not uphill. It's not downhill. Maybe a slight grade, but that's about it. It is gross. I want this trend to stop. I don't like this trend. I think I could handle being shot. The whole beheading thing would suck.
Dude. And we're going to start seeing worse. Like we talked about, somebody's going to try to one-up it.
Yeah.
So there goes the Panoose stuff down the throat.
Yeah. Oh, I was reading Jay-Z's book, I think it was. And he was talking about that. Some guy, drug dealer on the street where he grew up in New York, the Marcy Projects. Some guy like snitched or something and wound up with his dick and balls cut off and shoved in his mouth or his ass.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, oh, are you
Ruthless.
serious? Yeah. Like, dude, that's a whole different level. Speaking of New York, what do you think of Nurse Casey Hickox?
All right. She's starting to really piss me off now. Isn't she back in Maine now?
Mm-hmm.
All right. She flew in, to New Jersey?
Yeah.
And that's where they immediately put her under quarantine, and then she threatened to sue.
They gave her one of those temperature things where you don't have to do an oral. They just hold it up to your head and it gives a reading, and it came back a little elevated. So
She said it was a false positive. I'm fine.
Yeah. And she was just in Sierra Leone working with Ebola patients.
Yeah. So she objected right away to that idea of being quarantined against her will.
Mm-hmm.
She got a lawyer who threatened to bring suit.
And they're still threatening to bring suit right now.
Well, they allowed her to travel back to Maine, correct?
Yep.
But kind of asked, hey, please put yourself under this voluntary, more of a voluntary confinement.
Right.
Which I guess she's doing.
Yeah, but she wants to go outside bad.
Yeah.
She wants to be outdoors bad. they'll take legal action against the state of Maine if officials do not lift the 21-day home quarantine restriction by Thursday morning. Yeah. I will go to court to attain my freedom. She said that in an interview with Good Morning America via Skype from her home in Maine. I have been completely asymptomatic since I've been here. I feel absolutely great.
Dude, I get it. It's your liberty. I mean, we love to be free, right? We want to be free.
Sure.
It's your right to do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, isn't there, I don't know, like some feeling about, someone other than yourself? And maybe this is bigger than me.
Yeah.
And maybe I have to have responsibility to society in general, humankind.
Yes. And just because you're very familiar with this, you throw yourself into your work in Sierra Leone, doesn't mean that this country is ready for...
Well, and let's just suppose that she's wrong. Let's say she goes out amongst the people and does her thing, and then a week from now, she's got it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't she feel like an asshole? Would she? I don't know.
Maybe not. I would think people would take the 3 weeks off and enjoy it. Knock yourself out. Rent some movies. Have some fun.
Relax, lady.
Yeah. Take a load off.
No, as we said before, you're a do-gooder. You're such a do-gooder, you're willing to go to Sierra Leone and treat people. Do good for 3 more weeks.
Yeah.
Hang out.
What's the problem with that? What's the worst that happens?
Because you're being forced to.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be forced to do anything.
Yeah.
Not even for the good of mankind.
Yeah. Seems a bit selfish. To be honest with you.
It's the definition of selfish, man.
Yeah.
Really.
I know it is.
I mean, we can all relate. Everybody wants to do shit and be free to do shit, but come on. I mean, isn't this bigger than you?
Yeah. I love their reasoning, too. Like, I remain really concerned about these mandatory policies for aid workers. We're only adding to the stigmatization. Like, they're worried that people aren't going to go over there and treat them if they have to deal with these rules. It's like, really? You're that big of a humanitarian, and a 3-week vacation at home is enough to make you stop doing humanitarian work throughout the world?
Right.
Really?
You just look at it as an extension of that work.
Yeah,
That's
like
what you do.
part of your service.
Yeah, is you come back and then you sit out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, big deal. So you go over there for 6 months, you're doing your work, and it's cut it 3 weeks short. So you're over there for 5 months and a week, and then come home for 3 weeks.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the military has done that on their own. The military has said anybody over there in the hot zones coming back 21 days.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think we mentioned that the other day. There's a bunch of guys in Italy right now.
Yeah.
Sitting out.
I don't think there's anything
you
wrong
have
with
to.
that.
In order to get your arms around this shit, you have to do this.
Yeah. And there's some thought, like, did she take something? Did she take some aspirin or something to reduce her fever? Because when she took an oral thermometer, it was back to normal, and that's why she's claiming this false positive. But they're going, wait a minute, you don't just show up with a fever and then lose the fever in an hour without taking something.
Yeah.
So there's some question as to whether or not...
If that's true, I mean, that is...
I mean, it'd be easy to do. I mean, there's a lot of women that travel with aspirin in their purse, especially if they're going overseas.
Wow, but if you're that selfish to take that kind of stance on that, I mean, geez, man.
I mean, she's doing press all
This is
over.
serious shit.
Yeah. So it is. It'll be interesting, because they're putting their foot down in Jersey. Chris Christie's like, no, we're not budging an inch on this shit.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Well, and he's got a great point. I mean, isn't that government's role to protect us?
Yeah. Absolutely it is. Now they're turning it into a political issue, not so much based in science, which is why all the doctors have a problem with it. Just going, hey, what? But what we know about these things and viruses is they morph. So it's not contagious or airborne until the day that it is. Right. And that to me is where you get into, like, I know it could be a long shot, but I mean, when we went through this with SARS or bird flu, I mean, that's what they did. People protected themselves how they could, and they didn't travel. They shut those planes down.
Hell, man, in my opinion, let's just be safe about it and sit them out for 30 days. 35.
Over
40.
there, they do 42 days. So 21 seems like a walk in the park. Well, and you're still coming back to America.
For her sake, I really hope she's a negative.
Yeah.
And making all this stink and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you turn up positive. Boy, wouldn't you look like an asshole?
She probably wouldn't even care. It'd be lost on her.
Yeah.
Like, well, I wasn't contagious anyway.
And I still had the legal right. Legally speaking, I was correct in my view.
She looks like a pain in the ass, doesn't she?
Yes.
She looked like she'd be bitchy if you got the wrong drink to her. Doesn't she? Couldn't you see her teeing off on a waiter somewhere.
Yeah, she married.
I don't know.
Ugh.
Poor bastard.
Yeah, really.
Can't you just see her being in Mexico and teeing off on a waiter?
Yeah. Yes.
I said Corona, not Dos Equis. What are you, an idiot? Dos Equis, my favorite beer. It means 2 Equis.
I wanted a red umbrella.
Yeah. What is this
brought me a
yellow
purple one.
Bullshit. What an idiot. God, they're all idiot. Ugh.
Hey, Fernando, you're an idiot. You're a fucking idiot.
No tip for you. I'm putting $5 down on the table. I'm taking $1 away for every mistake you have, Fernando. You're going to owe me money by the end of this night. Ugh. That's where she's at, Fort Kent.
She's like right on the border with Canada there too. That's
wow.
Northernmost part of Maine right there that she's in.
So she's going to go international with her possible disease. Could go to Canada too. We mentioned Gordie Howe earlier. He suffered a serious stroke Sunday, has lost some function on the right side of his body, and has difficulty speaking, his daughter said to ESPN. No, that's a shot. Don't do that for Gordie. Come on, that's our boy Gordie.
Mr. Hockey, dude.
Yeah, that's Mr. Hockey. Little respect. You're a hockey fan, Tim Coe. Come on. He suffered the stroke while in Texas. He's recovering at his daughter's house now.
Now remind me, his wife passed away a few years ago, right?
I was going to ask you that, but I think so. Mrs.
Colleen,
Hockey?
Yeah.
Colleen Howe, Mrs. Hockey?
I think she did. Probably why he's probably been down with his daughter since then. Guess, but down in Texas, you say?
Down in Texas, yes. His daughter's house in Lubbock. Basically, sometime in the early morning on Sunday, he suffered a pretty bad stroke. The right side of his body is very, very weak. He's unable to stand without help. He's able to speak, but very, very difficult to speak.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's a nasty one. Strokes are nasty. He knows who he is. He knows the people around him, but it's very difficult for him to get up and walk around, so he's pretty much confined to his bed right now. The daughter said her father's been looking at family pictures and pictures from his playing days, and he's able to recognize and identify people he played with. That's encouraging. For any fans who are concerned about him, they say they should know that he's very comfortable. He's surrounded by family. This is the part that bothered me, and that is our goal, to make sure he is happy and comfortable as he can be until the end.
Yeah, he must be close, man.
You think so?
Yeah.
Is that what that means?
Sort of a hospice situation, maybe?
Because the Red Wings sent out a message like, well, yeah, it could be. Like hey, wish you a speedy recovery. You know, and everybody else is talking about speedy recovery. He's a fighter. It's nice to see that. What did they say? He's a tough old bird. His spirits are high. But seeing that, we want to keep him comfortable and happy till the end.
Yeah. Ugh. Either that or he had other issues going on parallel to the stroke, and the family knows that. Maybe the organization doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Mrs. Hockey, she passed away at 76 back in 2009.
Yeah.
I guess, what does he have? The 2 sons, Mark and Marty, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it just the 2? I thought he had 3 boys.
That's the only two I know of.
Maybe not. I could be wrong about that. I'm often wrong. Well, 2 or 3 boys. Anyway, yeah, Mrs. Howe, I have her autograph.
I do too.
You do? How did you get Mrs. Hockey's autograph?
It's one of the only autographs I have. I have Mr. Hockey and Mrs. Hockey.
You do? Did you fall in the same trap as me?
So, I think Paul did. My father-in-law, Paul.
Yes, we remember him well.
Got me.
Fingers crossed.
And How, I think is the name of his book that he and his wife penned probably 15 years ago or something.
Right.
And
Fitting.
One Christmas I think Paul gave that to me, and it was signed by Mr. and Mrs. Hockey.
Yeah. Like my jersey upstairs. When he and his wife came in studio, I have a jersey. He played for the Vipers, so he could play in 5 decades.
Yes, I remember.
Yes, so I have a very nice Vipers jersey upstairs.
It's signed by his wife, the player's wife.
Yeah, right. He came in and was signing a bunch of stuff, and he was having her sign it too, which was nice. But then she walked out of the room for a minute, and I put the jersey in front of him then and said, hey, can you just sign this real quick? And he went, yeah, get Colleen in here. What? And started screaming for Colleen, and I was like, it's all right. I'll take it to her. It's no big deal. And no, don't be silly. Colleen! Called her in. And
don't be silly. It's no problem at all.
It's no problem at all. I was like, great.
Why would that happen?
Colleen, Mrs. Hockey, how? I don't know.
Do you think he intentionally wanted to Well,
were you
we
going to
can
say lessen the
speculate.
value?
Yes.
No, I think they're a team. You know, a lot of husband and wives feel like teams, and he was on the Red Wings team. Now he's on the Howe family team.
I have a feeling this might be kind of something that some of the listeners identify with. Maybe some of the listeners also have some Mr. and Mrs. Hockey signed merchandise.
Yeah.
Maybe had the same feelings.
Maybe. I mean,
like, hey, Gordy, if you could just sign this, that'd be great. Mr. Howe, if you could, Mr. Hockey.
Yeah, number 9.
And then comes in the other arm, Mrs. Hockey. Oh, shit.
That is such a weird phenomenon. Like, you can't imagine, like, I was going to say Brad Pitt, but his wife would be okay to autograph it. But there are lots of people that are in the limelight whose significance others aren't. And
well, I mean, imagine seeing Steve Yzerman out and about. Hey, Steve, could you sign this for me? Sure.
Yeah.
His wife runs over. I got this too. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
And it's fine with that. Like, that'd be tough.
We caught Gordy at his game. He was signing. He had a book out. I'll bring it in if you want. But Colleen wasn't there, so.
Oh, you got it?
So you got just Gordy and.
He didn't have a stamp with him.
He's like, I'll mail this to you. I have to take it home and have Colleen sign it.
Oh, God.
Mail it to you. That's them right there too.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, there she is. There he is.
No, really. I mean, what was the deal behind that?
I don't know. I mean, it's been like a source of fodder for years.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna like literally wash that jersey out like for part of it. I'm glad I didn't. I still have it.
Yeah.
With the dual autographs. I want to say the Mrs. Hockey part is bigger than the Gordy.
Really?
Maybe, but whatever.
That's fine.
Yep. Made him happy, so I'm happy. And they, he's a celebrity, one of the most well-known and iconic, beloved players in Red Wing history, if not the NHL. And he stayed married to her forever.
Yeah.
Anyway. So we wish him the best. Hopefully there's a speedy recovery. It doesn't sound good, though, unfortunately. And he looks good. They said he was walking like a mile a day after spinal surgery. He used to walk 3 to 5 miles a day before that. So I don't know, and that helps. That helps in what he's going through, just having that background. But
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. The rocket that exploded yesterday. Did you watch that?
Yeah, that was amazing, man.
Yeah.
Unmanned rocket heading up to the space station, right, to leave some supplies and such.
4,400 pounds of stuff, including was it 1,900 pounds in food?
Wow.
Yeah. There was another rocket launched yesterday, too, out of Kazakhstan that was successful.
Oh,
yeah.
That hurts.
I know. Ours was supposed to go on Monday.
It's like Borat is launching rockets at work.
Yeah, that work. Yeah. And ours didn't quite work.
And this was not a NASA rocket. This was
well, they subcontract.
Yeah.
Their build. So is that it?
Yeah.
That doesn't look good.
No, I don't think they got audio.
They don't have audio of it?
No.
Yeah, I guess it was 6 seconds in the air, and then at the 13 or 14 second mark, they hit self-destruct.
Oh, dude.
Look at all that food.
Can you imagine how frustrating, like if you've ever built a model, car or rocket or anything, and you put in a few hours on it, and that blows up or doesn't work, and you're like, son of a bitch, and it just, that feeling of angst. Can you imagine the guys who worked on this or invested in this? Couple $100 million, right?
$200 million in plane and supplies. In rocket and supplies. Yeah, it was the third of 8 International Space Station cargo resupply missions under NASA's $1.9 billion contract with Orbital Sciences Corp. Orbital provides the launch vehicle and cargo spacecraft, and NASA runs the range operations. The rocket was carrying 4,483 pounds of equipment to the station, including 1,360 pounds of food. They had like a little mini spacecraft on board too, so I guess people could like go kart around or something.
Awesome.
On the space station. Yeah, but not anymore. Officials are asking residents of the area, it's like, if you find any piece of this rocket, don't touch it and call us. Like, what is that? What would be in there that they don't even want you to touch?
Oh, they're probably just worried about the fuel or what effect that could have. You know, you touch it, it might burn you or something. I don't know.
The other tragic part of this story was there was a group of class students in a class who won a contest.
Yeah, like a nationwide contest, a science experiment deal.
Yeah.
Where they're like, hey, you can send this thing up in space and enter this contest to, send your project up. And these guys were the winners out of a couple thousand. Yeah.
It's actually schools from Houston, Texas, and Ocean City, New Jersey, both won and sent stuff up. And they were doing, it was funny, the kids said that they were doing it on hydroponics and microgravity, which, fine, hydroponics just meaning
that I just think of weed when I hear hydroponics.
Of weed. Yes, you think hydroponics is like weed. These are
to grow some weed up there.
7th and 8th graders, but hydroponics I think just means that it's chemically grown, right? That it's chemically helped to grow. I think that's what that means. And microgravity just is zero gravity. So basically, you want to see if you can grow weed in outer space.
Yeah.
That's what I took from
New
it.
frontier, man.
Yeah. To me, it seems like they don't know that yet.
Ever tell you about when weed was growing in my house and I didn't know it?
No.
Yeah. I lived with an individual.
Yes.
During law school. And we shared a house. In Dearborn. This individual went to school downtown. I went to school downtown as well, so it was decent location. I had the upper floor. This individual had the main floor. And when a third guy moved out, the guy I was living with said, "Hey, do you mind if I take that extra bedroom? I'm going to put my ferret and my iguana in there."
I don't know anybody that had a ferret or iguana.
Like, shit,
God
dude.
damn it! Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, man, put that shit in there. I don't care. And so I'm picturing, cages, a cage of a ferret, a cage of iguana. No, he just let him run free in there.
God damn it!
So it was disgusting, dude. I mean, if you've ever seen a iguana shit, it shits like a bird.
Really?
Oh, it's just
white,
just disgusting. So wet, white, all over the carpet, whatever. He's just running free in his bedroom. And then ferrets smell like shit too. They eat some kind of horse meat or some processed, processed horse, yeah. And so it just smells like shit. And so I never went in there. I'm like, oh, you'd open the door and just about die. It was like Penguin House times 100.
Oh.
So I just never, for the year plus that we lived there, went in that room.
Yeah, why would you?
Why would I? So the day we're moving out.
You barely will walk into my house because Izzy's here, the cats are here.
What are you talking about? I'll barely walk in.
You're not happy about it. You wish they weren't here. You wish they were exterminated or
Not true.
went missing. You sometimes leave a door open, I notice.
It's not true. Anyway, day we're moving out, this roommate of mine calls me in that room. Dude, come here. I go in there. What? He opens the closet and he's got this whole fucking grow operation going on. He's got plants. He's got plants over my head, buds all over them.
At what stage in the game were you at?
Well, I was finishing law school and about to, getting ready to take the bar exam, have to pass character and fitness.
Right.
I had a few black marks on my historical record that I was concerned about, as it were.
Yes, I remember those.
And,
I was there for most of it.
Didn't really want a, fucking drug conviction.
Right.
So his explanation to me when I said, "What the fuck, dude?" was, "Dude, I wanted you to have plausible deniability, and you did. You had no idea this was going on."
God damn it!
I couldn't believe.
Hilarious.
He's like, "Look, man, if you grow for yourself, you can do it the rest of your life. It's just when you sell, you get in trouble." And you got a point there.
Yeah, unless they're flying those
ultraviolet
shit going on.
Because my man had some lamps in there for sure, going 24/7.
Yeah.
For a long period of time. There was a jungle in that closet.
I think that was going on next door to you too at some point.
Probably.
Right. It's funny that I don't think the kids are growing weed up in outer space. Can't say for sure.
They have that on their minds.
Obviously, they're in 7th, 8th grade. It was funny. I saw the kids interview. There's like 4 kids that won this contest to do their hydroponics grow in microgravity, and they had the teacher standing behind them, and the reporter says, "Yeah, so is this kind of a bummer? The rocket blew up," and the kid goes, "Yeah, it's kind of a bummer, but not every day you get to see a rocket explode."
That's great.
He was totally fine with it. He's like,
Fucking
yeah,
kid.
The teachers are all just like, oh my god, asshole. It's like whatever. It's right. There's always one kid in the group that's just kind of like, I'll present.
Yeah.
Like you guys do all the work and you've talked about that. So I'm assuming not every day you get to see a rocket explode kid was probably the presenter.
What an ass.
Yeah. Well, he's in 7th grade.
Well, at least it was unmanned. At least this time it was just a science experiment and not a science teacher.
Yeah.
Like Krista McAuliffe, right?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Remember, she kind of won that nationwide search for
teacher of the year. Yeah. I mean, now all you got to do is bang a 16-year-old student, but back then to be teacher of the year candidate, you had to, go to space.
Yeah.
And did you know she had dandruff?
Oh boy, here we go.
They found her Head and Shoulders on the beach.
Did you know she had blue eyes?
No.
One blue left, one blue right.
Right, I heard that. Did you hear what was the last thing Christy McAuliffe said? What's this button do?
God.
What?
What's the last thing that went through Christy McAuliffe's mind before it blew up? The windshield.
Remember when those jokes were tasteless?
Yeah. So much time's gone by, though. They're pretty funny now.
Yeah, they are. It's kind of like Michael Jackson jokes.
The loss of human life has sort of, lost its effect after so many years.
Would she have still been with us had she lived through that?
Yeah, what were we? We were
young. I mean, how many years ago was the space shuttle explosion? Mid-80s? She looks like she's about 40 there?
No, she's younger than that.
Is
she's
she?
Probably 30. She'd be in her mid-60s right now.
All right.
She'd be with us.
She'd be with us.
Assuming, yeah.
NASA didn't take her out.
Boy.
Yeah, I remember watching that in the classroom.
Sure.
Do you remember that?
Absolutely.
Crazy.
86, January 28th.
January 28th, 1986.
Yeah. You remember teachers were just like perplexed, like, how do I handle this? Because
Yeah.
everybody's, they'd wheel
in.
they wheel the big ass TV in on the cart
From the AV department.
It's got the big belt on it going around it so it doesn't tip over and fall off.
Yes. That's right.
There it is, man. Timko pulls up a picture immediately.
Oh my
the
God.
AV
And
cart.
It has the belt around it too.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
You could safely wheel that down the hall.
Wasn't there always some smartass that tried to put a porn tape in the VCR?
Oh, I never experienced that.
Yeah. So that the teacher would go, okay, we're trying now, and hit
Wow.
play. And it was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true or if that's, an old.
Look at the caption on that picture he pulled up, though. Nothing made you happier than seeing this when walking into a classroom.
Totally
right?
true.
You'd walk in, fuck yeah, we're watching a fucking movie today.
Yep. The only thing that would make you happier on the days when we're in Stanford.
Yeah, that's right.
Field trip days. Field trips were the only thing that would be a good AV studio or AV story where they'd wheel that thing in.
Because at the very least, you could sleep.
Exactly. They'd turn off the lights.
Like, at best, it would be interesting, mildly.
Mm-hmm. Not usually. But
right. At worst, you could freaking get some shut-eye.
Yeah, totally. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's the TV we watched it on, though. I'll never. We mentioned earlier Detroit to Chicago railway, not a breaking news story, as those trains have been going to New York or Chicago to Detroit for years.
Amtrak station in Dearborn, I'm sure many people have been there.
Absolutely.
That's a great way to get to Chicago, man.
It is when you don't want to have a car, because you don't need a car in Chicago.
Right.
You can literally stay at a hotel and never have to leave. You can do everything.
You can whoop it up.
Yeah. They're talking about a new. I guess they make 3 trips a day now between here and Chicago, and they're talking about a new high-speed rail that would do up to 10 trips and it go about 110 miles an hour. So what normally would take you 5 hours 40 minutes to get around, just there, would take like 220 now. Which is cool, but they're talking about being done with it by 2035. I'll probably be dead by 2035.
You probably will.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. What's this new? They just laid the kind of agreement for it or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Have you ever ridden that out there?
I have.
Dude, I rode that out there a couple times. Gab had a internship in Chicago for at least a semester. Maybe it was a semester and a summer or something like that while I was in law school.
Mm-hmm.
And my first year of law school, so studying my balls off, like every waking moment I was studying.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll come out there and see you for the weekend. I'll jump on the train. I'll be able to study for a few hours, get some good work in, get some work on the way home.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be good. So I'm sitting at the Dearborn station. And these 2 assholes walk in. I'm just waiting for the train to pull up.
Yeah.
2 complete jackasses.
A couple Big E's come waltzing up.
Dude, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean,
Beavis and Butthead.
Yes. Honestly, at that time, that's what I thought of. Like, wow, these guys are fucking like Beavis and Butthead. Just total assholes. Wander in, and they walk up to the ticket booth. Yeah, his old lady left him today. We want to go fucking party in Chicago. Give us 2 tickets. And I'm like, oh boy, you know. And they've got
a couple of live ones.
Oh, and they've got like backpacks or some kind of bag with just liquor bottles sticking out of them, you know.
Oh my god.
So I'm like, wow, what a bunch of, you know, a couple assholes, whatever. You know, I'm gonna get some studying done. I'll stay far away from them.
Yeah.
So the train pulls up. I just pick a random car, jump into a seat in the back. Lo and behold, assholes come on and sit right in the row next to me. I'm like, fuck, you know.
Are you kidding me?
And they're chirping, oh, you know, and they lean over to me. Yeah, his old lady left him today, so we're going to Chicago to fucking party. I'm like, sweet, man. Have fun with that. You know, and they're just telling everybody as they come on, and I'm, oh, fuck, you know, I'll throw some headphones on, I'll get some work done. Dude, 10 minutes into this.
Let me guess.
Fuck it, man. Give me one of those.
You start drinking with them?
Oh, dude, I'm hanging with like Dale and Larry from E-Course or something.
Yeah.
Just drinking our asses off. I mean, we picked up, you know, every stop along the way, people would get on and they'd tell their story.
Yeah.
You know, his old lady left him. We're fucking going to Chicago. We're going to party our asses off. And I'm like, yeah. And the group just grew, man. I mean, just people started entering this group, and the whole fucking car was wasted. There was this older black lady who was drinking like a fish. And from these guys were pouring absolutely cool and
That's
liberal with that.
Best part.
Yeah,
of
they were
those
just like,
things.
yeah,
They don't
here,
care.
man, here. And so this old black lady was drinking like crazy, and her story was, I'm going to see Ginny Jean.
Jenny
the
Jean.
Jenny Jones show. But she couldn't say Jenny Jones. She kept saying Ginny Jean. I'm going to see Ginny Jean. And she repeated this so many fucking times I wanted to rip my
That's
head off.
hilarious. How did you figure out Ginny Jean meant Jenny Jones?
Because I like took her by the shoulders and said, what are you talking about? She kept saying the Ginny Jean show. Thelma or whatever her name was. What do you mean Ginny Jean? You've said it 100 times. What do you mean? And finally I figured out Jenny Jones show. She's going to be on the Jenny Jones show.
Was she a guest or was she just in the
No,
audience?
she was just going to be in the audience. So anyway, dude, fucking just drunk off my ass.
So now you're on a 5.5 hour
Yes.
torpedo going to Chicago. Gab is expecting to pick you up, sober and study.
Yeah, go out to dinner or
studied, so
something
you go to
like that.
dinner. You've got your studies behind you, so you have the evening together. And instead,
Dude, I roll off this train. I'm like laying there in the station. She walks up. What the hell happened to you? I'm like, hey. She's like, what the?
you're like, Larry's old lady left them.
exactly.
So we were on our way to Chicago to blow off some steam.
Totally, dude. I'm like, I'm down there, Larry and Dale. Hey, guys. You know, it's just ridiculous. I'm like, Gab, we got to go home and watch the news. Those guys are going to be on the fucking news tonight. They're going to do something.
Well, how bad were they?
They were toasted, dude.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's the
funny.
perfect ride. You know, at
Yeah.
that 5 hour mark to just party.
You don't have to drive.
No, just have some friends and fucking party.
This happened to us. We did the same thing. God damn. My sister was there. Marcel was
Damn it, Marcel.
Marcel. He is not so good. Marcel was there with his girl Carrie. I can't remember who God damn it was with. But anyway, we took the train, and there's no chance. I mean, imagine that. Put yourself in that situation. Is there any way you would be able to get onto a train headed to Chicago with God damn it, son, and not get fucking annihilated?
No.
It's impossible.
No.
And same type of thing. Before long, he's running the show in this train.
Pretty much controlling the whole car, right?
Oh yeah, he's trying to get in the conductor's box.
Yeah.
He's running between cars. He's just a maniac. And
I want to drive this fucker. I want to drive this
my
fucker.
life's goal to drive a train.
I did. I told that story. Remember?
What?
I told the story about how I drove the train.
No.
We won't. Yeah, about 2 months ago.
Really?
Yeah, I fucking drove a train.
I don't remember you driving a
Go
train.
on. Go on with your party story.
So anyway, we end up getting hammered drunk, and this is goddamn it, son and I flew to Los Angeles and partied the entire way home with a guy who was a hotel owner, and I mean turned that whole back of the plane into like Mardi Gras.
Right.
It was insanity, the drinking that went on with this hotel chain owner. And so we kind of did the same thing there, but that was the weekend that we were outside of, oh God, some famous blues bar in Chicago. And line outside, it was one of those that was open till 4 a.m. So about 1 a.m., those bars start getting lines out the door because everyone's going to last few hours of partying. And we're standing outside, and we're standing outside. There's a row of people out there, and this guy gets dropped off by a cab. He's drunk as shit. He gets dropped off right by us, and that cab ends up cutting down the alley. You know, there's alleys everywhere in Chicago. Cuts down this alley and runs right over a guy who's passed out in the middle of the road. Guy had passed out. His friends had left him, and the car's front wheels went right over this dude's stomach. And then it was this whole thing. I mean, Derek at the time was he was still in, going through the PhD program. Masul was similar. His girl was a nurse or about to be a nurse, and so her instinct is to go run and help. And they're just like, don't touch him. They're worried about lawsuits and all that shit. It was crazy. I'll never forget the sight of that, though, that car going up.
What did it sound like?
I just heard
crunch. Did you hear crunch?
I heard more of like a gasp as he exhaled. And then the ambulance, and we went into the bar.
Partied hard.
Had
a great night.
And I don't know what happened to him. Maybe it was the talk of the bar, though. Got to be honest with you. Anyway, why don't we take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we'll talk to you all about, I thought this was a fascinating story about how these companies go about screening their Facebooks and all that for inappropriate material.
Right.
They call it the grandma effect. So that grandmas are going on and looking at kids' Facebooks and their family pictures. They don't want to be hit with a beheading video. As neither do I. So it's a fascinating story about how they do all that. So we'll tell you about that next on the Detroit Cast.
The Detroit Cast continues after this short break.